Welcome back. You're watching Canadian Innovators. Joining me today is CEO of Durafilm and social media influencer Mario Zelaya. Mario, Doug Ford just announced he's spending $75 million of taxpayers' dollars in ads targeting Republican states, highlighting Ronald Reagan. Let's watch.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
Mario, this was commercial is going out with our taxpayers' dollars. Ronald Reagan was speaking in a different time in the world. My question to you is, will this help or hurt negotiations between Canada and the United States?
I think the only thing that Doug Ford's been consistent with is hurting negotiations, and I think this is really a subtle, maybe not so subtle way of escalating these negotiations. But I don't think it's going to do anything at all, and I think it's a very expensive way to do what his job and his team should be doing, running these commercials against the public. The public, at the end of the day, they don't really care because in the US, the Americans, they see the tariffs as working. And Donald Trump, I think, just reported, I think it was yesterday, that they have a total of $20 trillion in investments that have happened. And so everything that Ronald Reagan is talking about in that commercial, economically speaking, it is true when there are escalations. Now, in this scenario, we don't have escalations because the US was able to basically beat down every single country into submission. And because the US is such a large purchaser of literally everything, and they are the biggest market in the world, they can dictate those terms. So, since they can dictate those terms, what sort of escalation can there possibly be? Donald Trump just showed that escalating against him will never work for Canada. And Mark Carney literally campaigned on the promises of being elbows up, and I'm going to be the best person to negotiate against Donald Trump. But we just showed that that didn't work. Not only did it not work, tariffs actually went up even higher than what we had before, and all counter tariffs have been dropped. So the economic theory of what Ronald Reagan is talking about is true when you have enough countries engaging in the exact same tariff war. But in this case, you're not. Everyone is just basically going to be paying their token amounts to the US, and they're getting a tremendous amount of growth. And that's why they're seeing a record amount of investment going into their country.
So, Mario, what does Canada need to do to get a deal? And do you ever think we're going to get a deal?
I think the only way we get a deal done is, I mean, the issue is we should have been planting those seeds 10 years ago. And we should have made the US so unbelievably reliant on Canadian energy that we had the upper hand that Donald Trump couldn't even think about doing something like this. And that is the issue that people need to understand is we have to go down that path. We are by definition an energy superpower. Sorry, we have the potential to be an energy superpower. We just never took advantage of it because we left it in the ground. And this is all under the CO2 mandates, the EV mandates, keeping things on the ground, the anti-pipeline bill. Like, we have so much red tape that is happening. We what Donald Trump really wants now, and he's hinted at it during the campaign, is the Keystone XL pipeline. I think that would be a great starter to start negotiating the end of the tariffs. But realistically, that is our only play. We have to take advantage of the things that we can really do well with, and that's ultimately energy.
Absolutely. And I remember when the first Keystone project was underway, our company coded some of the spools and piping for that. And that was a great way to ignite jobs, growth in the economy. We need to get back to that. So, Mary, we're going to go to commercial, but when we get back, we're going to talk about crime. That's something on everybody's mind. So, I'm going to get your thoughts on that more in a minute. You're watching Canadian Innovators. Don't go away. Come back and see Mario and his thoughts on crime when we return.